I designed the sketch, now it's time to bring it to life. Come along as I layer, shuffle and splatter my way through creative chaos. I'll share my thoughts and ideas along the way. Hi there crafty friends, it's Kathy here and I have another of my sketches for My Sketch Monday just for you. So you saw my sketch just a second ago and I must admit when I first started working on it, I did not think it was going to be that spectacular. I thought it was going to be a little bit plain and a little bit, same run-of-the-mill as we've seen lots and lots similar to it. But in the end, I actually do like the final product. So what I have done is I've collected my papers and I have chosen a wooden base, dark wood for my background, and then I have got these florals which I wanted to include because I had that beautiful floral spray. Now I did fussy cut out some flowers to build that floral spray on this layout, and I'm just layering up my panels. Now these panels are 2 3/4 by 11.5 in length. I then have torn them, as you saw me do, systematically across so that I have the staggered lengths, both top and bottom. Now at the bottom, I will trim those bottom pieces by another inch so that they then fit onto the layout at the required length and leave enough gap between the top photo and the bottom top layer of paper and the bottom layer of paper. And I like that there's a torn edge. I just think that's a little bit more effective than the straight edge in the sketch, and that's how I've interpreted the sketch. I've chosen to go with the torn edge. You might want to go with the straight edge. You could even make it like arrow points that fit into each other like a jigsaw puzzle. You're only limited by your creativity as to how you interpret how those panels fit on the layout. I just wanted that space in between so that I could journal in, and I just wanted that creative layering with the wood coming through underneath. And that's why I chose the wood instead of a plain cardstock underneath. You can do a plain cardstock, you can do another pattern. As I said, it all comes down to you and what you want to do on your layout. Now I have this photo here of my daughter. We were in the local shopping centre when Stitch was released and everything had Stitch in every window. My daughter, she just loves Stitch, and so she stood in front of the window and had the photo, partly because she was teasing her sister, because her sister is Stitch mad and she wanted to show off all the different Stitches to her sister. So I printed the photo and I'm putting it onto this layout with her on there and Stitch, as you can see in the window. So I've fussy cut these flowers, as I mentioned before, and I'm just going to layer them up. This is where you turn the sketch into yours and you make it yours. You layer it up with lots of different pieces. Now I have indicated on my sketch that I wanted to include lots of labels and lots of banners, so I'm starting to layer those in as per the sketch. You don't have to follow it as closely to that. You can put whatever you like. They could be other embellishments, they could be word phrases, they could be whatever you interpret it to be on the layout in the sketch. So I've chosen colours that are in the papers for my labels, and I'm just layering them up. I now refer back to the sketch and I realize that I don't need those two labels where I have them. I need to move them around, and you'll see that as I start to adhere things into place. Now I do use these labels and banner strips for landing points for my word phrases, which I choose to add to the layout just to add that little bit of extra interest. So you can see that I have got 2 tucked in under the photo over here to the right, and I have 2 at the top left, and then I have a couple across the bottom, and there will be another one added as we move through this process as per the sketch. Now remember, this is a sketch I created. You're more than welcome to use the sketch if you're interested, and you will be able to find it as a still on my Facebook page, Kathy Loves to Scrap, where I hope you will play along with my sketch and you will share on my page what you have created, or if you're using Instagram, that you give me a tag as Kathy Loves to Scrap on your Instagram account if you use the sketch. And please use it. I'd be more than happy to see what other people are getting along and creating with this easy, simple design. So I'm just layering up these flowers now, and I'm just using that dead space at the bottom of that photo just to cover up with the flowers, but to build that little design to the left hand side, and that's where that cluster is going to go into place. Now I do have more than I need, and I always tend to do that. I often cut more than I end up using in the end, and then they just sit in my little ephemera bags so I can use on different pages. I'm going to stick a little camera in there in the pinks. That's from a Scrap-A-Sketch printable. And then I'm just going to pop up some little flowers, which I also fussy cut from the floral papers on this layout. So it's very pretty. It's as I said, I didn't think it was going to turn out so well. I'm looking at it as I'm doing it, and I'm really still not sold on it. I do have these blue floral butterflies that I have fussy cut from a Uniquely Creative paper range, which was their blue range that they had, and their leftovers from a sheet where I had cut out before. And then I'm tucking in a little arrow there to point at my daughter. And I've just pulled in the colors from the photos, and that's how I was able to come up with the color palette. And you can see that it reflects nicely and the photo still pops out. I find that as a great technique for doing very multiple patterns and designs by using the photos as my guide. I am putting down a lot of word phrases here. These are all about motivation and self guidance for my daughter, who often lacks a lot of self-confidence and suffers anxiety extremely. Like, there is beauty in simplicity. Remember the now. You are enough. Stay strong. Great things take time. Happiness depends on ourselves, and live every day with intention. And that's pretty much what I try to keep telling her, that nothing has to be done in a rush. You can do lots of things, but you don't have to do it all. And you need to just take your time and enjoy the journey along the way. So that's what I've done here. I've added these word phrases in. I'm still bulking up my cluster here, as you can see, and I've used my most favorite punch, my leaf punch, and I've punched them out with leftover papers that I have laying around on my desk in the shades of the florals on here, so that I'm complementing, not overpowering. I didn't want bold greens. I just wanted them to blend in, but I did want to build up those clusters so that there is some depth to them and some height, and it just doesn't just sit flat on the page. Now, I really am quite happy in the end with how it turns out, as I said. But when I was working through it, I thought it was a little bit flat. I did complete this layout, and I thought, oh, even when it was done, I was still not happy. But coming back to it and looking at it today in real life, I was like, yeah, this actually looks quite okay. It turned out better than I thought it would. I'm just going to cover up my photo here, as you can see, and I'm going to add some white opaque paint splatters. This is the Dina Wakley white opaque. And I'm just going to splatter that across around the layout just to add that little bit of extra interest to it. And I am terrible with splatters. They never ever work. Regardless of how much I try, I just really struggle to get them on the page. But that's okay. That's a learning curve. We all have our little tests and trials in our creative world, and splatters is one of my tests. I'm just going to lift this off here, and I'm happy with that mixed media. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put in some pops of colour. Now, you can get pops of colour from scrapbook.com. They are really, really good. They're versatile. I love them. They're a creamy blend, and when you flatten them, they go out like an enamel dot, and it's just a beautiful medium to use, and I just like it. I have a whole range of colours. Never have enough, can go back and always buy more, and scrapbook.com is great because they do still deliver to Australia, which is always very helpful for us Aussies who often struggle to get things from the US, because particularly now with some mail bans that are happening. So I have completed it. I hope I've done enough to earn a thumbs up from you today. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe. I really want to hit 700 subscribers, and I know you are watching because there is a great proportion in my statistics saying that unsubscribed watchers are watching. So please hit that subscribe button. If you want to have a look at this sketch in more detail, find it on my Facebook page. Thanks everyone for watching. Stay creative, and here's my next video for you. I'll see you over there real soon.